Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be doing another viewer request that's from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we have a viewer request. I was asked to do Feelin Peachy, and I finally found it. If you have a request, leave a comment below. If you don't want to wait for me to find the kit, you can always email me the instructions. My information is on my channel, and then I can try helping you out. If you need priority over your requests, go ahead and click the join button. You don't automatically join. It'll just take you to a prompt that will show two levels of membership that I offer. In each tier offers a certain amount of benefits that might be helpful for you. So go ahead and check that out. But we're doing Feelin Peachy today, and it's a little granny square bag. I've done one of these before, and I haven't seen any since. And now I'm being asked to do this one, and I happened to find it just yesterday. So let's get into this unboxing. It's a fairly big box, so bear with me. Here are the booklet of instructions. I don't know much about them, but if they're like the itty bitty knit kits, you have both illustrations and text to go with, and then you also have a link to their website if you want to see their videos. So my videos is how I would do it to make my life easier. That doesn't mean that it's going to make your life any easier. So if that's the case, go ahead and check out the written and illustrative instructions. If that doesn't help, go on their website and check out their videos. But due to copyright reasons, I cannot show you any of the information that is in this booklet. What I can do is teach you how to do new stitches step by step at least 3 times, and then also the assembly. If there's anything in between that might be confusing, I might be able to help you understand it. So if you need to speed up or slow down the video, go ahead and click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talk, you could always lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. So along with the instructions, you have a nice spool of yarn here. They fitted the sewing needle right in there. I don't know if that was on purpose because you can lose it in there, but here's the other color of yarn that they have, and then this is the crochet hook. There's no size given, so can't tell you that, but anyway, that's about it for the box. Alright, so let's take a look at these instructions real quick. It gives you a plain instruction on each stitch that you'll come across, and then it goes right into making the peach square. Okay, and it's very descriptive. There's multiple pages for this, and then it shows you making the handle. So alright. I think you gotta make 2 of these. Let me see. Yeah, so you have to make 2 of these squares. Now you're gonna start off with this peach color, and what I want to do for you in this video is just teach you a little bit of the tips and tricks that I use when I do my crocheting or any knitting or anything like that. So you have the end piece hidden right under this band, and it's, you know, since it's easy to see, people think, okay, let's use this. But what happens is, if you use the outside end, you're forced to remove the banding, and then it'll roll around as you grab your yarn, which in turn becomes annoying. So we're going to keep the band on, we're not going to use the outside end. We're going to go inside here and find the inside end. So sometimes it's just laying right there and you can see it. If not, check the other side. Now, if you go into the other side and you can't see it either, what you can do, which is sometimes a little scary, I'm going to grab a strand of yarn here and I'm going to pull it out, and that other end is going to come out eventually. So out comes a wad, and that's the scary part. However, as we crochet and use this as feeder yarn, you're going to end up using this wad, and then you're left with this single yarn that's coming out here. You just need to put a paperweight, and then you just continue pulling on it, and it's not rolling around, and it's nice and neat. So that's why I like to do that. So for here though, just so that we get rid of all the tangles, because that sometimes happens in manufacturing, I'm going to detangle my yarn here to get to that other end, because that is the ultimate goal. Okay, and we're going to use this. Before we move on with the peach, let's just set this aside. Actually, I want to do this 2 more times for you guys, as I am teaching you how to do this stuff. I'm going to pull the ends out, the inside ends out of the green as well. So let's just go in and check to see if it's right there, which unfortunately we are not lucky today. So I'm just going to grab a strand and pull it out, and this time it's a smaller wad, but again, detangle that wad, and then this is going to be ready to go, so you don't have to, you know, take time to find that end, because I hate having to stop while I crochet. And then one more time for you guys with the purple. So again, we're going to go in here and try to find the other end, and no dice. Let's check the other end here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go in, pull a strand out, and keep pulling. I think this might be a bigger wad, but that's all right. Let's detangle this. Okay, that was a bit, but we got through with it. Let's set this aside. Okay, and then we're going to work with the peach, and we have to do a slip knot. So I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so we're going to take the peach and we're going to do a slip knot. What you want to do is take the end here. We're going to pinch it with our thumb and ring finger, and then we're going to take the index and middle, and we're going to hold it apart like this. Okay. You want this to be tight, this to be a little loose. You're going to then take your 2 fingers and push up. Then we're going to turn it down to create this big loop. Then with your middle finger and index finger, you're going to take the feeder yarn and you're going to pull that through the loop, creating a huge knot. So here's our huge knot. Now all we have to do is tighten it up. So when you tighten it, you want your knot to be as close to your thumb as possible. This is going to eliminate the amount of yarn waste, because you never know if they will end up giving you enough yarn. So just tighten up your knot. Again, try to tighten it close to your thumb so that your little tail here is as small as possible. So you're just tying a knot. I just, you know, made it look a little fancy for those that don't know how to tie a knot. But once you have your knot tied, then you can take your little tail here and pull that so that you make the knot nice and snug. You don't have to go real hard on the tug, you just need to make it snug. You don't want it tight. But we're going to hold the knot now with our index and thumb, and now we have to work with this huge loop. What we're going to do is pull on our feeder yarn here so that we can make that loop small enough to fit our crochet hook. Okay, so once you have that, you can take your crochet hook here, and we're going to put that through the loop. Then we're going to gather up some feeder yarn, and we're going to start this project. So you want to hold down on the knot just because it's going to stabilize your project while you do your initial stitches here. So we're going to learn how to do the chain stitch. So to do the chain stitch, all you have to do is take this feeder yarn and put it over the hook like that. So that's a yarn over, Y-O. So then you take this feeder yarn and we're going to pull it through the loop. So hook it and then pull it through the loop. And that's pretty much a chain. So we've got a chain and it consists of 3 loops. We have 1 loop here, 1 loop on the other side. If you turn it on its side, this back loop here, I call it the back hump. So it makes 3 loops to make a chain. Alright, so let me show you how to do this 2 more times. So you're going to yarn over. That's taking the feeder yarn and putting it over the hook. Then we're going to take the feeder yarn and pull it through this loop. So hook it and then pull it through the loop, creating a chain stitch. So now we have 2, and each chain stitch again is made up of 3 loops. You have 1 on this side, 1 on the other side. You turn it on its side, and this one here, the back hump, is the 3rd one. Alright, so let me show you how to do this one more time. So we're going to take the feeder yarn and yarn over, which is taking the yarn and putting it over the hook. And then we're going to take the feeder yarn and pull it through the loop. So hook it and then pull it through the loop. So now you should have 3 chains. If you look at it this way, it looks like a nice braid. And again, each chain is made up of 3 loops. You have a loop on this side, a loop on the other side, and then you turn it on its side, you can see the back hump. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do the chain stitch at least 3 times step by step, you can rewind this video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the chain stitch on your own. But in the instructional booklet, I'm just going to complete the rest of the chains required for this first part here, and then we're going to come back in and I'm going to show you how to do the slip stitch. So in the slip stitch, we're going to connect the 2 ends to create a ring. So this is not amigurumi. But what you're going to do is I'm going to stick my hook into the back hump of the first chain. So if you remember, we looked through the chains here. We looked at how many loops make up the chain, and then I turned it on its side and showed you the back humps. These are all the back humps. So I'm going to take my hook now. I'm going to go back to the first stitch we did, and I'm going to stick my hook into that back hump loop like that. So if I look at it underside, you can see that the chain, the braid is still intact, looks nice. But we're going to do a slip stitch. So because of this excess piece, I want to try to hide it if I can. So I'm going to just flatten the excess piece on my hook. It's a lot of bit of moving parts here, but once we get past that, it'll be okay. So now I'm going to do a yarn over. We're going to take the feeder yarn and put it over the hook, and then we're gonna take the feeder yarn and pull it through all loops. That's basically a slip stitch. So let's do that now. So this excess piece is a little short, so I might not be able to hide it right away, but yeah, so pull that feeder yarn through all the loops off your hook, and that is a slip stitch. We had now joined both ends together and it's making a ring. Okay, so now for round 1 we have instructions to make a new stitch, and I'm going to teach you how to do a double crochet stitch. So what they did not tell you, they may have told you in the beginning of the booklet when they're teaching you how to do the stitches, but for universally, and this is for any instruction, to do a double crochet stitch off of chains, it's always going to be a height of 3 chains. You have to build the height of the round. So to do that, we're going to chain 3 chains, and again, that is universal for double crochet. So do 3 chains, and this is considered the height of a double crochet stitch. Now again, I didn't read the booklet in the beginning, so maybe it does tell you, but universally, let me tell you what happens. So this kit doesn't give you stitch markers, I don't believe. I don't know, I don't remember, even though it was not too long ago. But these are all the stitch markers I've collected over the kits I've had. I do have an Amazon storefront. You can go check out the sellers that I have pinned. I have not used them, but they are a high star rating. So you can either use them, or you can go search for the name of these on their store if you don't, want to use them, or you can go to a hobby store or a hobby store online. Okay, so I'm going to use these stitch markers, and universally, when you do the 3 chains for the height of a double crochet stitch, sometimes they count it as 1 double crochet stitch. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go on the 3rd chain that I did, the last one I did. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to slip this stitch marker under the braided loops. So here's one, here's the other one, and you want to make sure that you didn't split the yarn, okay, that it's going right under there, and we're going to close this up. And this is important to do because when we get to all the double crochet stitches and we come back around, we have to know where we're going to put our hook, and this is just going to help you, because I find that when you do the first double crochet stitch with these chains, it just gets so lost from the crochet, and then it's really hard to see where you put your hook. So this is just going to help me, and it'll probably help you too. So now that we technically have our first double crochet stitch, let's get to the actual doing of a double crochet stitch. Alright, so to do that, we are going to yarn over, and we're going to put our hook inside this ring. So just put it right in the middle. We're not trying to put it through any chains or anything. But from here, we're going to yarn over again. So yarn over, and we're going to pull up a loop. So hook it and pull through the ring to create a loop. So now you should have 3 loops on your hook. Okay, so now we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull through 2 loops, 1 and 2. So now you should have 2 loops left on your hook. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops, 1, 2. So a double crochet, because we kind of did that twice. So you can slide this. We have a lot of double crochet stitches left to go, so it's okay if there's like a gap, but if you need room, you could always just slide your stitches down the ring next to our 3 chains. So if you can kind of see closely, it's pretty close. The 3 chains make the height of the double crochet stitch. So we did one. Let's do another one. We're going to yarn over. You're going to put your hook in the ring. Then we're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull up a loop. So we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through 2 loops. 1, 2. So we have 2 loops left on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. 1, 2. So as you can see, we have now 3 double crochet stitches. That one here is the 3 chain. But let's do this one more time with you guys. So yarn over, put your hook in the ring. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to we're going to pull up a loop. So we have 3 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over again. We're going to pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. All right, so now that I've shown you how to do a double crochet stitch at least 3 times step by step, you can rewind this video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing a double crochet stitch on your own. But now I'm going to go and I'm going to finish the rest of the double crochet stitches required for round 1, and then I'm going to come back in and show you how to join. Drinking my tea. Alright, let's get some yarn here. Alright, after you finish all your stitches, it's in good practice to always make sure you have the correct stitch count. So right now, off of camera, I'm just going to count my stitches. Alright, so when you have done that, now I'm going to show you how to do a join stitch. So again, when you get to the other side, it's really sometimes hard to see which chain or stitch you're putting your hook in, but I have put my stitch marker here, so I know I have to put my hook in there as well. So stick your hook where you put the stitch marker. If you didn't use one, you have to count 3 chains up from that 3 chain double crochet stitch we made. Then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through all loops. That's a join. It's basically a slip stitch. But now we can remove this stitch marker, and I'm going to look ahead to see what is in store for round 2. Alright, so now it looks like they do have you do the 3 chains, which I find a little odd that they didn't mention it before. But let's go ahead now and do our chains. And I mentioned the number just because it is universal. From instruction to instruction, 3 chains make the height of a double crochet stitch. And again, I'm going to go ahead and use my stitch marker so that when I come back around to join, I won't struggle with where I'm supposed to put my hook. Alright, So this is where it gets a little loopy, and this is where I'm going to try to give as much info as I can. So we're going to do, when it says in the same stitch, we're pretty much going to use the same stitch that we did the 3 chains in. So do the next stitch, right? And you're going to stick your hook in that same stitch we did the 3 chains. Now for me, because we did the join stitch, we're going to put the hook, so you can see the 3 chains that are coming out of here. We're going to put the hook in here like we're supposed to, but this is actually a join stitch from the previous round. You have to put it into that top 3 chain here as well, if that makes any sense, because if you remember, we joined the 2 ends together, so we just have to put our hooks into that same stitches that we had put it in before. Alright, and then we're going to continue on finishing off that stitch. Alright, so now in the next stitch, it's telling you have to do 2 of those. So this is the next stitch we're going to put our hook in. You have to do 2 stitches in the same hook. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1. Okay. And then I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to put it into the same stitch like we did before. So put your hook into that same stitch that we just used to do the second one. Okay. Alright, so now in the next stitch, we're going to learn a new stitch entirely, and we have to put 3 of them in there this time. So now if you are a tense crocheter and you make your stitches tight, you may have a problem doing 3 in this one stitch. So I will make a short of this, but a short video for this, but to lighten the intensity of your grip, I like to hold my hook underhand. This for me somehow just makes my stitches a little looser and not so tight. So you can try this out. I recommend it too, because it kind of forces, it's a little awkward position and it forces your hand to kind of relax. If you are an overhand crocheter, which is kind of common, you have the the tendency to grip hard, and so now you're kind of working in a small tensed up space. With this, it's kind of, you have to just let things flow, and you have more distance. I don't know, it's just different. So if you find you're having difficulty getting into your stitches, try this way. Okay, so let's do a treble crochet stitch. So we are going to yarn over twice. You're gonna yarn over once and then yarn over twice. So now I have 2 loops here, right? And then this one. So now we're going to stick our hook into the next stitch. So go ahead and do that. And now we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. Then you're going to yarn over again. We're going to pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through another 2 loops. And then we're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So this is a treble crochet stitch, and look how much bigger it is compared to the double right next to it. So let's do 2 more of these. We're going to yarn over twice, 1, 2, You're going to stick your hook into that same stitch we just used. Alright, so we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. So now you should have 4 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. 1, 2. So now you have 3 loops left on your hook. We're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through 2 more loops. 1, 2. So you have 2 loops left. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. 1, 2. I'm not too fond of this hook, you guys. The way that it was extruded in their little machine, it's leaving a little lip, if you can see that there, and it's catching onto my yarn and ripping it. And I don't like that. So if you can replace this one, it doesn't even tell you a number, but try to find the thickness similar to one at a store or something that's better constructed, or take a file and try to file it smooth. But anyway, let's do one more treble stitch, treble crochet stitch. I'm sorry. All right, so yarn over twice, 1, 2. Then we're going to stick our hook into that same stitch again. All right, we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over again and we're going to pull through 2 loops. So we have 3 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. So we have 2 loops here left. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. All right. So now in our next stitch, we're going to learn another entire new stitch. So let's learn how to do a half double crochet stitch, and we're going to have to do it twice into this next stitch. So you're going to yarn over, we're going to put our hook into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all 3 loops, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that's a half double crochet stitch. It's smaller than the double crochet stitch. All right, so let's do one more. So yarn over, stick your hook into that same stitch, we're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so that's that. All right, and then we just have to do more of these, so go ahead and do that. I will show you how to do one more half double crochet stitch because this will be the 3rd one that I show you step by step. So yarn over, stick your hook into the next stitch, and then we're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do the half double crochet stitch step by step, you can rewind this video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the half double crochet stitch on your own. But I'm going to finish the rest of this half double crochet stitch section, and then as you read carefully, we're pretty much going to kind of repeat some steps in the same fashion that we just did. So I'm going to do that all the way around. I've taught you all the stitches you need to learn for this round, and when we come back in, I'll show you again how to do a slip stitch, or aka join. Alright, so now that I've completed all the stitches required for round 2, we're going to do a slip stitch. And it actually tells you more in detail this time. It's crazy, they should have done it from the beginning. We're going to put our hook where we put our stitch marker. If you didn't use one, we're going to put it at the top. Third stitch, chain stitch, when we started out on round 2. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through everything off the hook like that. And then it tells us that we have to fasten off. So to fasten off, right, we're only going to need about 1 inch or so. Where is my scissor? Hold on a sec. It was right there. All right, so we're going to cut about 1 inch or so. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through the loop all the way out. So continue to keep pulling until the yarn comes all the way out. Let's remove this stitch marker here. We're going to pinch this end, and I'm just going to pull this excess piece till that loop turns into a knot. That, and then you can just flatten this out. So this is what we have here. All right, so for this next section, it does get a little confusing. So after we fastened off, it says to put the hook in the middle of the third treble clefs. So if we ended up here, we fastened off here, I'm just going to keep going around in the direction that we have been going, and this is the set of treble clef. I'm like thinking in terms of music. Treble crochet. So we're gonna want to put our hook in the middle. So go ahead and put your hook into the middle. And then it does say pull up a loop and fasten off. We're just not going to do that. We're just going to do like a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through all the loops off your hook. And this is pretty much where we're going to be starting our round 3. So for round 3, we have to do the height of a new stitch that we're going to learn. So universally, when we do a single crochet stitch, the height for that is 1 chain. So go ahead and chain 1. All right, now the next set of instruction says that we're learning a new stitch. It's a single crochet stitch, and we're putting it into the same stitch. So what you're going to do, put your hook into the same stitch that we just put our hook into, the middle of that treble crochet stitch. I have to stop saying treble clef. I played the saxophone back in the day, so I read sheet music and everything, and maybe that's why I'm doing it. Alright, so we're going to then yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So that is a single crochet stitch. Alright, I'm going to show you how to do this 2 more times, and conveniently into the next stitch we're going to be doing this 2 times. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So that's a single crochet stitch. Let's do this 1 more time. So stick your hook into the same stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Okay, so the next section, this is all, actually every section after this for round 3 is the same stitch. It just, you have to follow the pattern, and of course I can't give you the pattern, so just read it carefully. It's just like round 2, just different stitch. Alright, I'm going to continue this all the way around. We're going to come back in and join and fasten off. When we get around to this fastened off end that we did for round 2, I'm going to show you how to kind of hide this in to your project. So we're going to stitch around it. So stick your, well, this one, hold on, this one, I don't need to do that right now. So, all right. So, hold on a sec. Okay, so into the next stitch, we have this little flap here, excess piece. We're gonna lie it right across the hook like that, on top of that stitch we just stuck our needle in, and we're just gonna do our stitch around it. And that way this gets kind of tucked in to our project. So again, I'll go into the next stitch. We're going to lay this excess piece right on top of that stitch, and we're going to stitch around it. And then one more time, I'll show you guys here. You stick your hook in here, lay that excess piece right over the hook. We're going to stitch around it. All right. And then of course I'm going to go to the last section of instructions here. So let's do that. Oops. Again, we're still tucking in that excess piece in our stitches. I'm going to do the slip stitch, and it's telling you where to put it. So I didn't put a stitch marker, but we did our chain 1, right? So what you want to do is stick it into the chain 1. That's just what it's saying. That's kind of universal too, but it's being specific and saying that. So we're gonna go, it might be a little hard to put your hook in. I usually find that when you do single crochet stitches and your chain 1 gets kind of pulled in the direction that we're going, so that chain ends up getting a little small. So I'm a loose stitcher, so my hook can go in the stitch, but it's a little more snug than I'm used to. So if you are a tense and tight stitcher, you might have difficulty shoving that hook in the chain, but that's, you know, at least you know that's where it's supposed to go. And then we're just gonna slip stitch these together and then fasten off. So I've shown you how to do the slip stitch. Let's go in and do the fastening off. And again, we're just going to cut about 1 inch or so of the yarn. We're going to yarn over the hook. You're going to pull that through the loop, but all the way out. Then we're going to pinch this end here, and this loop we're going to turn into a knot by pulling on this excess piece until you cannot pull anymore. You don't have to pull too tight, just enough to close that up. And then this, I usually try to hide it all without having to cut, because I hate having to stop and cut. Plus I can use it to just add to the thickness in here or whatever. But it's fine if you can just trim off your little excess pieces. This one too, I guess, if you really wanted to trim that down. Okay. But now we have our peach. Okay, the next steps we're going to do, we're going to add our leaf. So let's situate that. Okay, now we're gonna have our peach, we ended here, right? So I'm just gonna go into the circular motion of things, but you can also actually look at it. So clearly it's some sort of triangular, wanting to be a triangular shape. So the top of my peach, I want to go this way, but you see this, maybe it's a little too fat of a peach that I would like. So I'm just gonna rotate this back and go this way. You just have to look at it. For all we know, yours could be very even, so it doesn't matter where you turn it. But I'm going to consider this my top, this my bottom. Alright? And then you want to find stitches in the middle of the top of the peach, because that's where we're going to start. So you could count the stitches that we've done here. All right. And then, you know what? I'm just going to mark the middle. I don't know if that means anything right now, but for me, I just want to visualize where my middle is. All right, so let's do our slip knot. I think this might be the third time we do it, so hopefully by then you'll be able to pick it up. But you want to pinch the end like we've been doing and take your index and middle and hold it apart. Take 2 fingers and lift up. We're going to turn it down to create this loop. Then you're going to take your middle finger and your index finger, and we're just going to pull the feeder yarn through the loop, creating a huge knot. And then all you have to do is tighten up your knot, and you want to try to tighten it up close to your thumb. That way we don't waste too much yarn. Again, because we never know if they will give you enough of it. So after you tighten it up, you can pull on the excess piece to make sure that knot is nice and snug. And now we have to deal with this long loop, so hold the knot, and you want to pull the feeder yarn and pull it until this loop becomes small enough to fit your crochet hook. Okay. Alright, so reading more of this round 4, we're going to be working in the middle of the top of the peach, and we're only going to be working in those stitches. So that's what the big deal is about. And it makes sense because we're making now the top of the peach with the leaves. So we're going to be working like we have been from right to left. Okay, so we are going to start with that first stitch here, and I'm just going to remove my stitch marker because I know what we're doing now, and I'm going to do what we did before. I'm just going to do a slip stitch here, so yarn over and pull through all the stitches off your hook. Alright, and then we're going to start doing our chains. So go ahead and do the number of chains they ask you to do. Alright, and then once we have that, the next steps, and this is now going to be universal, so I can tell you about this part. So whenever you do single crochet stitches right off the chains, just like we discussed with the double crochet stitch, there's going to be a height that you have to build to make the round. So for single crochet stitches, we discussed earlier that 1 chain makes the height of the single crochet stitch. So I'm just taking the straight, pulling up a 90-degree angle here, and that would be your height for the single crochet stitch. So because this is so, if you're a math person, since this statement makes it true, whenever you do single crochet stitches from a chain of stitches, we have to start from the second chain from the hook. So from the hook, we're going to skip 1 chain, that's going to be the height, and we're going to put our hook into the second chain from the hook. So you see what I did there? Here's our chains. We started at the hook, you're skipping 1, we're putting our hook into the second one, and of course I always put my hook into the back hump. So turn it on its side, you see that little hump right there? I'm going to just stick my hook into that one. Again, if you are a 10 stitcher and you do tight stitches, you're going to have a hard time putting your hooks in certain places. So it's a very good practice to underhand your hook while crocheting and just be very light with it. If wrapping your yarn is it could also be the culprit. If you're still, this position is not giving you loose stitches, then what I would do is remove the feeder yarn off your finger and you're just going to work with this hanging. So this one at a time bit should help like decrease the amount of tensity you put into your stitches. Alright, so from here we're going to be doing our single crochet stitches like we did in the last round. So that's our first crochet, single crochet stitch. Now the next section says we're going to be doing a double crochet stitch, so go ahead and do that. And if you have to go back at any time to remember how to do these stitches, I did add chapters to my videos, so you can go into the description box and click the timestamp for the section that you need, and it'll take you right to it. And then if you remember where you were at now, you can just pop back in. Alright, next thing we're going to do is the treble crochet stitch, so go ahead and do that. And again, we're working all of this on that green chain stitches that we just did. Okay, we are making a leaf, so just look at what you're doing, and if it doesn't look anything like a leaf, there might be a problem. Might be. Alright, and after that we're doing a double crochet stitch. And then we're doing our half double crochet stitch. Okay, and then this round gives you, I guess each round gave you a stitch count, so you can always count your stitches if you like to make sure that you have the right stitches. But we've finished that. So now that we've done the leaf, we're just gonna go to the stem section, and we're going to follow the instructions for that. So go ahead into the next stitch on the peach and let's do those instructions. All of this should be straightforward because it's the same stitches that I've already taught you, it's just different pattern. So let's just continue with this. Okay. And then for this we're doing a bunch of slip stitches. Now this is kind of universal too, but it's also instructional. It's pretty straightforward. But if a single crochet stitch is 1 chain height, then a slip stitch is going to be 0. So once you kind of figure that stuff out, it's things get a lot easier, and they all end up making sense. Okay. Then we're going into our last stitch here that we're working, and we're going to fasten it off. So again, for this we're going to cut about 1 inch or so. Alright, I don't know how many times I've done this. I think I've already done it 3 times. But yarn over, pull through the loop and pull all the way out, then pinch this part here. We're going to pull on this end to make that loop into a knot. Okay, and then we're good to go. So this is a very vibrant color. You can try to hide the yarn into the next round, but there's nothing wrong also with just leaving it behind and then cutting it short later, because again, you'll see it. There's no way, I don't think you're going to be able to hide this, because we're going to be using purple next. So let me set this up here. Let's remove this green. All right, so now for this next section, we're going to be doing round 5 with the purple. Again, we are going to be doing the slip knot, and again, you can always rewind to the parts that I've done the slip knot. I've already done this 3 times step by step, so you should be able to do this on your own. But if not, you can go back into the description box and click on that slip knot chapter to learn how to do the slip knot again. But we are going to start now with round 5. Let's gather up some feeder yarn here, and now it's a little vague. It's saying that we're gonna start at the top right, and I don't particularly like that, because top right could be anything. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here. Not a fan. So let me just see here. Okay. I don't know about you, and I don't know about the book, but I'm just gonna start, let's see. Maybe here, top right. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong, but I'm just seriously just putting this in a random spot. Again, not a fan that they don't tell you exactly where. Okay. Let me see if I can just see what's happening here, because we're making the corner. It looks like we're making a corner. So I want it to make sense. And it doesn't help that this isn't a square, it's a weird triangle shape. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna start here. We may pay for it at the end, but I don't know. They don't tell you. Alright, so we're gonna do a slip stitch like we kind of did the past couple times. Alright. So now we're gonna have to make some chains, so go ahead and do that. And I'm guessing that this is going to be counted as a double crochet stitch, so I am going to put my stitch marker in here. Alright, then we're going to do our double crochet stitches. We can hide this little excess piece by stitching around it like I showed you before, because we're working now with purple and hiding it with the purple. Alright, so now we're doing, it looks like we're making the corner, so go ahead with your chains, and then we're going to go back to our double crochet stitches. And we're doing this all in the same stitch. So whenever you see this situation here, and this is a great section right now for this round 5 for you to learn if you want to learn how to do granny squares, which is another popular project to do if you want to make blankets and such. But whenever you see something like this, where you, in this case we have double crochet stitches and chains, you can pretty much figure that this is going to be a corner, and that makes perfect sense for this project, because this is basically like a granny stitch now, and we're sewing it together to make the pouch. Alright, so once we finish this corner, let's look at that little asterisk there. It makes you wonder, okay, well, what is it that we're doing? So when you see an asterisk, it usually means that we're going to be repeating that certain instruction over and over again, and it'll tell you how many times to repeat it. So now we're doing something different. we're going to learn how to skip stitches. Sometimes they abbreviate it SK. In this case, they spelt it all out as skip. So it pretty much is what it's asking you to do. You're going to skip the next stitch. So I'll just point as to what that means. So this would be the next stitch for us. We're going to skip it. So this is the skipped, and then we're going to work into the next one. So go ahead and do the stitches that they ask you to do into this stitch. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to repeat this asterisk. Now, it gives you the number of times that you're repeating this. The thing is that we have to evenly sprawl this out. If you look at the instructions, it's clearly jacked up. So you have your nice little peach here. And then when you see the other photos adding the purple, that peach shape is now contorted. So I'm going to fix that. I want it to look like a peach, not like a pumpkin, like they have over there. So this is what we're going to do. All right, I will not steer you wrong. Hold on. So we're going to, if this is the middle of the top of the peach, I'm going to put my next set of stitches in the middle. See how there's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put it right in here. So flip your leaves or leaf or whatever down. You can see that middle stitch that I used for the stem. I want to put my hook in that way, and that's kind of how you work around the leaf, because the leaf is going to be in front and you don't want to mess that up. So actually, let's do our stitches. I almost did this wrong. So stick your hook into that middle stitch and work around the leaf. Okay, that way at least I know my granny square is going to be kind of symmetrical and centered. Okay. Then, in my mind, the number of stitches that I skipped to get to this middle one, I'm going to repeat on this side. So go ahead and skip those stitches. We're now going to repeat this again. So go ahead and do those stitches. And then the next section, it looks like we're doing the second corner. So go ahead and do that. Now we're looking at something different here. We have a set of parentheses. So this is also another way to find out if you're making a corner, and they specifically say second corner, so we know that it's going to be. But the way that you read parentheses is you just focus on what's inside the parenthesis first. Don't really bother with what comes after, but that's the intent of a parenthesis. They want you to focus those stitches, and it's telling you that it's all gonna go into the next stitch. So take all that stuff in the parenthesis, we're gonna put it into the next stitch. All right, let me see here. All right. Okay, so stick your hook into that next stitch. Oh, and that's the other issue too. They really should have you, oh, they do. Skip the next stitch, and then we're gonna do the corner in the next one. I missed that part, so make sure you read everything. But work your corner. So we worked our second corner. This is what it's looking like right now. So the idea is to try to centralize this peach and make it still look like a peach. After we do the next, the second corner, we have a parenthesis. All right, and so this is where they cut they, pun intended, cut corners. So it says to repeat the asterisk. So you have to go back up a few lines and repeat that asterisk. So let's do that. Now, this is where it's gonna get a little different from the instruction, just because I want to maintain the shape of our peach. So let us do what it's telling us to do. We're going to repeat that asterisk. So you skip your stitch, and then we're going to do our oh wait, let me just see though, because I want to make sure I divide this up right, you know, because they really I think they really were ambitious with this, with the weird shape, and they didn't do it right. Okay, so let's repeat that asterisk now. So I skipped that stitch, and now I'm doing the second part of that asterisk. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. So far, so good. All right, and then we are going to do our next one. But what I'm gonna do, and you don't have to follow me, you can follow whatever the instructions say, but I'll tell you this, it's not gonna look right. I'm gonna skip 2 stitches here, and then I'm gonna do that bank of double crochet stitches. Oh, you can try to hide your peach, because we're working with peach and purple, so you can hide that into your stitches. But yeah, I am skipping 2 stitches. I'm deviating from the pattern. Alright, so we have that. Then I'm going to repeat this again. Do the asterisk. It tells you the number of times you have to repeat, so I'm going to repeat this again. But this time I am going to skip again 2 stitches instead. Okay, so we'll do that. Now the first one, now I'm changing it, so the first one I want to be a double crochet stitch. Okay. The next 2 stitches I'm going to make treble crochet stitches in the same stitch. So here's 1 treble crochet stitch. And then in the same stitch I'm going to do another treble crochet stitch. Okay. And this, the reason why I made these stitches longer is because it was okay to have their stitches around this corner, but you see how it's tapering now? You have to be able to keep up with the taper, otherwise you're going to stretch it, and that's what they're doing in their instruction. You had this really nice pear shape, peach shape, and then they're destroying it by using the same stitch, and it's stretching it into it's trying to make it into a square. So I'm going to show you how to keep the nice shape. So we did that. Now we have to work our corner. I am going to do the skip stitch like they have. So let's do that. Skip your stitch, And let's work our third corner. I used the wrong stitch for that. For the third corner, we're going to use treble crochet stitches. One of these days I'll get that word right. So for corners, do a treble crochet stitch. Or you can follow, you know, what they're doing. Okay. Oh, I didn't. Did I yarn over? Treble crochet, you yarn over twice, in case you forgot, or I forget. Alright, so we have our corner made. So we're really fighting to keep this way, like the peaches. This is upside down, obviously. So we're trying to keep the stitches, it's long on this side, so we can try to maintain that square, although I'm really fighting it. Now we have to repeat the asterisk. And we're going to go back to what they're saying. We're not going to do treble crochet stitches for this. We're going to go back to doubles. So go ahead and skip your stitch and let's do that. And I'm going to do that all the way across till we hit the fourth corner. Okay, so we repeated that. See, we're forming the bottom part of the square now. So for the fourth corner, we're going to go back to the treble crochet stitches. We're first going to skip that stitch. So skip that stitch, and then we're going to do the fourth corner. Oh, and we're using the treble clef stitch. Now this, again, this is my change to their pattern. You can follow their instruction, but I'm doing this so that the peach stays a peach. Okay, after the fourth corner, we now have to repeat the asterisk one more time, and I am going to deviate from their pattern again. I'm going to copy the same thing I did on the other side. So we're going to skip that stitch. Well, let's see how many stitches I do skip. Okay, skip that stitch, and we're going to work this next one as treble crochet stitch. So stick your hook into that next stitch after the skipped one, and we're going to do treble crochet stitches. So work that in there. Alright, and then for the next bank of stitches, we're going to copy the same thing we did on the other side. So we have, I think I did, hold on a second, I did the, we're going to do 2 treble crochet stitches. So how many stitches did I skip though? Oh, we skipped 2. So this time I'm going to, well, let's see, how many, do I even have room to skip? Let's see. I kind of do. So I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and I'm going to put the hook into the next one after that. We're going to work 2 treble crochet stitches. And then the third one is going to be a double crochet stitch, all in that same stitch. And then for the last repeat, it's all going to be double crochet stitches, and we're going to skip 1. So let's do this. Skip 1 stitch into the next. We're going to do 3 double crochet stitches. And then it wants us to slip stitch at the beginning, so good thing I did put the stitch marker like I usually do, so we can know exactly where we're putting our hook in. If you didn't, it's going to be the 3rd chain from that 3 chains we did in the very beginning, and we're going to do our slip stitch. You can remove the stitch marker. Alright, so this is what it's looking like. This is why I did what we did. We still can see the tapering of the peach, and we grew these stitches on the sides so that we can also meet our granny square criteria here. So I like it. Now we have to do round 6, and it's telling us to do some slip stitches because we are not starting where we left off here. So go ahead and do your slip stitches that it's telling you to do. Alright. And then we're going to be doing, let me just double check here. Right. So it looks like we're going to be doing a corner without them saying that. So let's do our 3 chains. This is the universal height for a double crochet stitch, and that's what we're going to be working in this little section here. So let's go ahead and do and you know what, I don't like that. Well, let's just leave it. It has you do this. The thing is, we're working in the corner. We're supposed to be in here. So after you do 3 chains, yarn over. We're going to do our doubles in this little corner. So just stick your hook in that chain space and work your corner. So let's do our double crochet stitches, and then we have our chains to do, back to double crochet stitches, and it's all going into this corner. So they've kind of got a little sloppy with this set of instructions. I don't think I'm really 100% happy with it, with what they've given you, because if you don't know these things, it's gonna come out looking funny, you know, and their photos already have it looking funny. So anyway, all right, and then after that we're gonna be doing more double crochet stitches. Done. And it's telling you where to put the stitches. So let me just explain what clusters are. Clusters are pretty much what we've done. We have the little bank of stitches we put into one stitch. That's a cluster. So whenever you have a bunch of stitches in one stitch, consider that a cluster, and it's telling you that they want you to work these new stitches in between them. So let's do our double crochet stitch. We're going to stick our hook in between this cluster and this cluster. So you would stick that right in between them, and we're going to work our new cluster of stitches. So now you've learned another term, cluster. And I don't think they abbreviate that. They spell it all out usually. Okay. And then it tells you the number of times you have to repeat that. So go ahead and repeat that. All right. So this next part, which is funny, is pretty much the next corner. Just gathering up some yarn here. So we're going to work this corner. Alright, so then I guess their way of saving on ink was to repeat asterisk 4 times When you read more of these instructions, you'll understand why I'm kind of laughing at that, because I got confused. But so you have to look up a couple of lines and there's a set of asterisks. We're going to repeat that 4 times. Alright. So we're going to repeat this. Alright, and then we're going to work the next section, and it's pretty much doing the next corner. So let's work that. And if it helps, that's pretty much what we're doing all the way around. And we're going to repeat this next section here. Alright, well, I didn't mark the top of the third chain, but that's what we have to do. So now we're going to do a slip stitch. And again, for those that didn't do a stitch marker like I didn't this round, you just have to count the third chain from this bag of chains here. 1, 2, 3. You stick your hook into that third one. And again, it's harder when you don't have the stitch marker in there. Okay, and then we're going to do our slip stitch to complete this round. Alright, so this is what it's looking like right now. Not too shabby. Alright, so now for round 7, it looks like we're going to be doing a bunch of single crochet stitches. So let me just gather up some yarn here. And basically it looks like we're going to be working corners and single crochet stitches all the way around. So this one isn't going to be as involved as the previous round, but we're going to, this is where alright, so this is what we're going to do because they have you doing some craziness again that's not right. So we attached ourselves to this double crochet stitch and then we have 2 here. They have you again just doing a single in here and then working this. That's just not how it works. So what we're going to do is do a single crochet stitch in the next stitch. And then another single crochet stitch in the next stitch. We're not gonna listen to these people here. Then we're going to work our corner. So then now you can go work on your corner. And then after you work on your corner, you can work on the single crochet stitches all the way across. So that's the only thing that I wanted to do different, because it would have looked funny like the previous round. They tried to do the same thing. So, but from here, I'm going to do this in silence. I'm going to do my single crochet stitches until I hit my corner, and then do it again until all the way around, and then when we come back I don't know, it just says do it all the way until the end. It doesn't even tell you to join. So let me see if it's going to tell me. Nope. We're going to join and fasten off. Alright, in silence. Alright, so I got all the way around to the other side, and we're just going to join onto the first single crochet stitch we did. So stick your hook at the top of that first single crochet stitch we did, and we're going to slip stitch, and then we're going to fasten this off so you can cut off about an inch or so. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull through the loop all the way out, and then we're going to tighten this up right here, and we finished our first granny square. So again, I'm going to trim this off actually, and take this moment to trim off the pieces you want to trim off. But the way that I did it, we maintained that little weird triangular shape of the peach that we started with. So hopefully, if you've done it this way, it worked out. But now after this, the next steps that we're gonna do is we have to make the handle, and then we're going to assemble the whole thing. Alright, so before we do the handle, I did do the second side off camera. So these are my 2 squares. Okay, and again, you know, we kept the shape. I just love that. I love that we did it better than they wanted us to. Anyway, I'm going to set this aside for now. We're going to work on the handle. So let's work with our slip stitch. And again, you can always go back to the section you need if you don't remember how to do the slip stitch. But in the instructions, it says the desired length. Well, you can desire to have it as long as you want, but if you run out of yarn, you know, that's going to be an issue, obviously. So I'm just going to follow their instructions. So I'm going to do the number of stitches that they are suggesting. All right, this is going to be a long one, so not too happy about that, but I am happy that we are almost done with this, you guys. So. Alright, so we're all going to do chain stitches, so go ahead and do those. It's a lot, so you know what, I actually may do it in silence so I can count out loud without you hearing me. Alright, so I've made all the chain stitches I need, and we're going to be doing the first row. So this one I actually don't know by heart, but I guess this is pretty universal as well. So we're going to be doing a half double crochet stitch for hold on, I tightened this chain and I don't like it. I'm going to redo it. We're going to do a half double crochet stitch for this handle. So what we're going to do is, universally, a half double crochet stitch is going to be one chain height, like the single crochet stitches. So like we would do, we are going to skip a chain and then put our hook into the second chain for a half double crochet stitch. All right. And so we are just going to be doing that for the whole handle. So since this is pretty much the same thing, I'm now going to do this in silence, and then when I come back, we're going to end up doing round row 2. So if you didn't know, if it's straight, it's a row. If it's in a circle or any other shape, it's a round. Okay, so in silence. Alright, so I finished row 1 and we're going to do row 2. And it seems like we're going to be doing the same stitch, but we're going to do a different number of chains. So that's got me going. Like I don't know half double crochet stitch height by heart. I thought it was 1. Maybe it's 2. Yeah, maybe it's 2. Yeah, that sounds more right. But I don't know why we did only second chain from hook then. I don't know. So go ahead, do 2 chains. That's the universal height for half double crochet stitch. Yeah. Double crochet stitch is 3 chains, and treble crochet stitch is 4. So anyway, I've done the 2, and then now we're going to be doing our half double crochet stitches all the way across, which means I'm gonna do this in silence. So just finish this one here. So this counts as 1, so it's gonna look a little funny. Alright, so I finished row 2. We're going to fasten this off. So take your scissor and we're going to cut about 1 inch or so. And we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop all the way out, and tighten this up to make that loop a knot. And we finished our handle. This is also going to be the side of the pouches as well. Actually, I just need one. We're going to put the wrong side facing up. So this is the right side. We're just going to flip this upside down. And then we have our handle here. This is the right side. I think we're going to sandwich this. Yeah. So we're going to keep the pretty side on the inside. Starting with, I guess, the right side of the peach. Let's do that. So this is the pretty side. This is the pretty side that I want for the handle. We're going to line up the corners together. Okay. Let's do a slip knot with the purple, because we're going to crochet these things together. I don't know what they asked the needle for, but okay, once we have that, stick your needle in there. I'm going to gather up some feeder yarn. Okay. We lined up the corners, and we're going to be working single crochet stitches, and we're going to be using the back loops only. And you'll usually see that abbreviation as BLO. In this they don't do the abbreviations, but in case you use somebody else's instructions and you see BLO. So when we look at our corner here, we have 3 single crochet stitches going in the corner, and then here, well, we just have our half double crochet stitches. So I'm going to take this first, I guess I'm going to use the absolute corner. Stick your hook in the back loop only. Now, we are kind of facing the wrong sides together. So the back loop is actually here, these loops. If we were facing the right side, which is the prettier side, these would be the front loops and these would be the back loops. Okay, so since we're flipping this to the wrong side, let's stick our hook into this corner single crochet. It's more like a chain, I think we did that. But stick it into that one loop only. We're not going to do 2 like we normally. Then I'm going to take the corner from the handle, stick my hook into that. Oh, make sure you have the prettier side showing, whatever side that is for you. Alright. Okay, we're going to use that kind of back loop only. And we're going to do our single crochet stitch together. So work your single crochet stitch like you normally would. Okay. And that's pretty much how we're going to do this together. Should be the prettier side in my opinion. So now we're going to do this all the way around. So go ahead and do that. Back loop only. We're putting it through only one loop and not the 2 of the braid. See how this is the braid? We're only going to use this one right here and not the other one. right? Hopefully I can show this to you again one more time. So for the granny square, just this one loop, we're splitting up that braid, and then we're going to go into the handle side now, and the same thing, we're going to split up this braid and put it only on this loop, and we're going to work our single crochet stitch. So now that I've done that at least 3 times step by step, I'm going to work my way around the peach, leaving the top part empty. Alright, so check this out. So I crocheted around the 3/4. We're going to do edging on the top. Look at how big that handle is left. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I don't like how they're doing this. Deviating again. If you don't want to do it differently, then you can follow their instruction. Alright, so now we're going to do the other side. I have crocheted the 2 squares together. I'm going to try to do the edging. So, because this is the wrong side out, I don't have any issues doing the single crochet stitches across this way, because it's actually, I have to fold the right side up, so it's going to look nice. Alright, so we're going to continue with our single crochet stitches across. And am I using back loop only? Yeah, I'm gonna do back loop only. It's not ideal, but I'm just trying to keep with what they did. If I were to do it, I wouldn't have done it this way, but I would have not used back loop only. I would have used both loops off that chain or off the stitches, because it holds stronger, in my opinion. But I think in the instructions, when you do this top edge, it doesn't tell you back loop only. It actually just says to do the single crochet stitches. Then it's just gonna look different. I like everything to look nice and uniform. And if anything, I mean, if they didn't give you enough yarn, I think I should have just sewn it together. Okay, so once you've reached that other side, just so I don't have to tie knots and stuff, I am gonna slip stitch across. No, I'm just gonna make a knot because this is actually stretchy, so I don't want to ruin that. So I'm just gonna cut about 1 inch or so, and we're gonna fasten this off. And then I'm gonna do, oh wow, somehow this ended up not. If you have like excess pieces facing your good side, then you can just take a crochet hook, hook it, and then drag it to the wrong side. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to do another slip knot, and we're going to do the last top edge. So let's see how much purple I have left. Alright, not much. That's about it. So this is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to make this length. This is about 6 stitches. So I'm going to try to do this bit and attach it onto here, and then I'm just going to use the green. I think it makes sense for the green, maybe, or maybe I'll transition from some of the peach and then the green on top, just so that it's kind of consistent. But that's what you do when they don't give you enough yarn. So, and there's no way 70 was gonna make it. Just no way. Look at that, the little nubby. All right, so when we come back, let's see. When we come back, I'm going to show you how to attach the, nope, I'm not. When we come back, it's all going to look good. I'm going to flip it inside out and we're going to see the end result. But I'm not going to do this in silence. I'm just going to clip quick to the end result. Alright, so I did my best to complete my handle. I'm just going to trim off the excess pieces here. Now, if you're using this as an actual bag, I would recommend lining it with some cotton or whatever fabric you want. But we're going to flip this inside out. And here is our little peach pouch. So I love the side edges. It's really nice. Again, they went about it a little weird, but I think it's all right. We kept our peach intact. It doesn't look weird. And I added my own handle because we had not enough of it. So at the top I have the green. The mids I have the peach, and at the bottom I have the purple. So comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know how it went for you. Click that like button if you think this is pretty cute, or click that like button if you want to make this pouch for yourself. At any rate, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.